And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the UFO Hour here on freethinkradio.com. I'm your host, Blings. Tonight it's 9:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday, June 13th, 2011. I got a couple things up I want to cover. I'm just going to be all over the place tonight, folks. We're going to start off with recent UFO sightings. I got some pictures and some news from the last 13 days of a lot of sightings that have been going on. So instead of talking about the moon and technology and all that stuff, we might get into that a bit later, but tonight I'm going to open up with some UFO stuff. All right, so I'm just trying to find... Okay, we're going to go a bit backwards here. Alright, so I got some pictures for you all. Alright, so this was Michigan, June 11th, 2011. At around 8 p.m., a single sphere-like object had become over the tree line and jutted down in a quick motion, and then continued on in a straight path. Soon after, 4 more objects appeared, with the first 3 in a triangular pattern, with the other 2 following. After about 2 or 3 minutes of the object moving slowly through the sky, they were gone. About an hour later, all 5 reappeared from the same spot on the tree line. This sighting is from when the pictures were taken. That's the picture I sent to you guys. The first picture was underexposed to stop the movement, where areas of the other 2 were in a lower shutter to capture the light 2. I'll send you those pics in a second. The first pic is a 1/162nd 2, taken a second apart. We're at 1/8. Again, after moving slowly through the sky, they one by one disappeared. I again saw them around 11:20 p.m. Once again, they came out from the same part of the tree line, moved across the sky for about 2-3 minutes, and then vanished. Here's the second picture for everybody in the chat. Do I even have anybody in the chat? Alright, so that's one of them. This one here was June 8th, 2011. So these are just a couple days ago, a week ago, folks. There's not a picture, it's just an artist rendition or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So I'm just going to read it out. So we're talking June 8th, 2011. On the date of June 8th, 2011, around 7:40 p.m., I was taking my friend Derek home. My friend lives out at a mobile home park on the far east side of Pueblo, Colorado, Pueblo, Colorado. While we were driving on Highway 96, my friend and I both noticed this rather large metallic triangular craft with red and purple lights passed over my car. It was traveling eastbound along Highway 96 at a rather fast speed. The craft was about 900 to 1,000 feet in the air at a speed of 150 plus miles per hour. The red and purple lights were flashing on and off at the fast rate, which my friend and I thought was very odd. And those sounds you're hearing in the background is me curing cancer. Don't worry about it, folks. This craft didn't act, nor did it look like an airplane or helicopter. My friend lives really close to the... Here, I gotta read it. Somebody sent me how to say it. Where'd it go? Pueblo? Did I say it right that time? Give me a thumbs up.
Pueblo.
Thank you, Nelson. The Pueblo Airport, and she swore that it was not an airplane. Since this craft was going at the same direction as we were, we decided to follow this craft. I turned down the radio to see if I could hear any type of noise from this craft, which I couldn't. This craft was traveling really fast, and I had to do the best I could to keep up with it. I had to drive around 110 miles per hour to stay with this craft. My friend asked me to catch up to this object so he could take a clear photo of it, so I sped up to 120 miles per hour, and yet I still couldn't catch up. We were following this craft for about 15 minutes, and then this craft just shot straight up in the air. I slammed on the brakes and pulled over. My friend and I jumped out of the car to see where this craft flew off to. Sadly, it was nowhere to be seen. I'm not sure if this was just some kind of airplane or if it was a UFO. I've never seen a UFO before. I wasn't even sure I should tell anybody about it. About what my friend and I saw. Sorry, my friend said we should file a report with the guys at MUFON. Maybe you could give us some insight into what we saw. It was just very odd, and my friend and I both just had a weird feeling while we were trying to chase down whatever the craft was. I've seen a lot of aircraft in my time, but I've never seen one just stop and shoot straight up into the air like that craft. I'm not scared to admit it, but that thing really freaked me out. I just want to know what I saw. I never believed in UFOs or anything until now. I just have this really odd feeling in my gut after seeing that. I'm scared to tell anybody, and so is my friend. We both are upset that we could get close enough to take a picture with one of our cell phones. We think without pictures that no one will believe us, or that we are, or believe that we are crazy. I just gotta turn my Skype on to busy here, people. The beeps get really annoying, or whatever those little sounds are, so I'm gonna turn that off real quick. Alright, so I got another one here. This one's from June 13th, 2011. No picture again, but it's really short, so I'll just blast through it. This was taken, well, there's no picture, but this happened in Massachusetts, 05/27/11. At around 10:15 p.m., my family and I were coming home from a very late dinner and were pulling into our driveway/parking area. The lot was full, so I decided to drop everyone off and circle around the neighborhood, one-way streets, and park it out front of the house. While I was circling around the neighborhood, I looked up in the sky and saw 3 lights in a perfect triangular with a red light in the middle. These lights were not super high, but not too low, and were coasting over the neighborhood. To make this event even more amazing, the craft made absolutely no sound. When I saw this, I was very excited, and in a way, couldn't believe that I was finally lucky enough to see something like this. I started to follow the light in my car, but eventually the streets didn't match up with the path that the lights were traveling. When I finally got to a clearing where I had a better view of the sky, the lights were gone. So this one here is June 13th, 2011. Oh, I guess this was today. Hang on. That's what it says, June 13th, 2011. Alright. At 7:45 p.m., I went outside to feed horses. I saw a definite silver cylinder with slightly rounded ends, about the apparent size of an ordinary passenger jet, traveling almost overhead at a fairly slow speed, although a person could not have outrun it. There was no sound, although about 2 minutes later, well after the object had disappeared, I heard the sound of an ordinary plane coming from the opposite direction, and yet could not see this plane. The object traveled west to east at a level altitude, but much lower than a commercial plane, perhaps just a few thousand feet. There was a very smooth movement and very smooth shiny surface, but there was definitely no wings, as I could see the back end of it as it moved away from me. Excuse me. At one point, there seems to be air displacement around it. Just after that point, I think it may have separated horizontally slight for a brief moment, weird, at which time there seemed to be a rod between the two sections. The sky was blue and cloudless. Yeah, right. The sky's always gray. From the time I noticed it in the sky until it disappeared, it traveled at a distance of perhaps several miles. It seemed to just fade away, but that could have been because of distance. The sighting lasted about 1 minute and was so fascinating I did not have time to go back inside for my camera. Right on. So we got a bunch of those, but I'm not going to continue going. I'm going to come back to that whenever I start running out of stuff to talk about. I want to briefly catch up on Viking. the Viking crafts 1 and 2. I'm going to read out this brief thing, and then we're going to get into some news about the Viking probes. The Viking Mars missions were performed by 2 spacecrafts, the Viking 1 and Viking 2, launched within a couple of weeks of each other. Each spacecraft consisted of an orbiter and a lander, which traveled attached together for nearly a year to reach Mars orbit. The orbiters then began taking pictures of the main Martian surface, from which a landing site was selected. The landers then separated from the orbiters and soft landed. The orbiters continued imaging, and between Viking 1 and 2 imaged the entire planet at what was then high resolution. The orbiters also conducted atmosphere, water vapor measurements, and infrared thermal mapping. The Viking 1 orbiter flew within 90 kilometers of Phobos to take images of this larger inner moon of Mars. The Viking landers took full 360-degree pictures, collected and analyzed samples of the Martian soil, and monitored the temperature, wind direction, and wind speed. The Viking missions revealed further details of volcanoes, lava plains, and huge canyons, and the effects of wind and water. Analysis of the soils at the landing sites showed them to be rich in iron, but devoid of any signs of life. The results from the Viking experiments revolutionized our views of Mars. Volcanoes, lava plains, immersed canyons, craters, areas, wind-formed features. The evidence of the surface water were seen in the orbiter images. The planet was found to be divided into 2 main regions, northern low plains and southern crater highlands. Holy fuck, I can't read because I'm so high. Superimposed on these regions are the Tharsis and Elysium bulges, which are high-standing volcanic areas, and valley, a system of giant canyons near the equator. Alright, so the surface material at both landing sites were found to be in iron-rich clay. Measured temperatures range from 150 to 250 K, with a vapor rate variation over a given day of 35 to 50 K. Seasonal dust storms, pressure changes, and transport of atmospheric gases between the polar caps were observed. And this mission is part of the Mars exploration program. Alrighty, I can close that. So here's something that John Miller sent me today. I'm going to read it out, and it comes with a little video here. Alright, so everybody tune into that video if you want, whatever. I'm going to read about it, but this is sent to me by John Miller. So, a big surprise from the edge of the solar system. NASA's Voyager probes. Oh, that's what I wanted to read. Voyager probes. See, I fucked up already. NASA's Voyager probes are truly going where no one has gone before, gliding silently toward the stars, 9 billion miles away from Earth. They are beaming back news from the most distant, unexplored reaches of the solar system. Mission scientists say the probes have just sent back some very big news indeed. It's bubbly out there. The Voyager probes appear to have entered a strange realm of frothy magnetic bubbles, says astronomer Merav Ofer of Boston University. This is very surprising. According to computer models, the bubbles are larger, about 100 million miles wide, so it would take the speedy probes weeks to cross just one of them. Voyager 1 entered the foam zone around 2007, and Voyager 2 followed about a year later. At first, researchers didn't understand what the Voyagers were sensing, but now they have a good idea. The sun's magnetic field extends all the way to the edge of the solar system, explains Ofer. Because the sun spins, its magnetic field becomes twisted and wrinkled, a bit like a ballerina skirt. Far, far away from the sun, where the Voyagers are now, the folds of the skirt bunch up. When a magnetic field gets severely folded like this, intensifying things can happen. Lines of magnetic force crisscross and reconnect. Magnetic reconnection is the same energetic process underlying solar flares. The crowded folds of the skirt recognize themselves sometimes explosively into foamy magnetic bubbles. We never expected to find such a foam at the edge of the solar system, but there it is, says Ofer's colleague, University of Maryland physics Jim Drake. Theories dating back to the 1950s have predicted a very different scenario. The distant magnetic field of the sun was supposed to curve around in relative graceful arcs, eventually folding back to rejoin the sun. The actual bubbles appear to be self-contained and subsequently disconnected from the border solar magnetic field. Energetic particle sensor readings suggest that the Voyagers are occasionally dipping in and out of the foam, so there might be regions where the old ideas still hold, but there is no question that old models alone cannot explain what the Voyagers have found. Says Drake, we are still trying to wrap our minds around the implication of these findings. The structure of the sun's distant magnetic field, foam versus no foam, is of acute scientific importance because it defines how we interact with the rest of the galaxy. Researchers call the region where the Voyagers are now the helioseth. It is essentially the border crossing between the solar system and the rest of the Milky Way. Lots of things try to get across interstellar clouds, knots, and galactic magnetism, cosmic rays, and so on. Will these intruders encounter a riot of bubbly magnetism, the new view, or a graceful line of magnetic force leading back to the sun, the old view? So I'm going to post you all a picture of what this looks like. Sorry about my reading tonight. I can't even find the page. Hey, Ugly, what's going on? Alright, so, old and new views of the heliosith, red and blue spirals of the graceful curving magnetic field lines of the orthodox model, new data from Voyager add a magnetic froth insert to the mix. And that's what you're looking at there. That's the picture I just posted in the chat, folks. If you're not in the chat and you're just listening to the radio, it's a picture of the heliosphere, but at the edge of it, it's this weird red stuff. It almost looks like when you look at organisms through a microscope, and it's red, and it's, yeah, we live in a bubble inside a bubble inside a bubble, as far as I can tell, and of research. It's kind of weird. A lot of shit going on out there. Thank you. Alright, so galactic cosmic rays are subatomic particle acceleration to near light speed by distant black holes and supernova explosions. When these microscopic cannonballs try to enter the solar system, they have to fight through the sun's magnetic field to reach the inner planets. The magnetic bubbles could be our first line of defense against the cosmic rays. We haven't figured out yet if it's a good thing or not. Excuse me. On one hand, the bubbles should seem to be very porous shield, allowing many cosmic rays through the gas. On the other hand, cosmic rays could get trapped inside the bubbles, which would make for a very good shield indeed. We'll probably discover which is correct as the Voyager proceeds deeper into the froth and learn more about its originalization, says Ofer. This is just the beginning, and I predict more surprises ahead. Now, think of this, okay? Most of the people that come here and listen to the radio, they believe that there's a conspiracy here and there. A lot of people say you can't trust what NASA says because they lie to us, and I believe they do lie to us to a degree. I believe they do tell us some things to a degree, stuff that can be proven by other people and such, and astronomers on Earth, like guys like me and you. But how do we know they tell the truth about stuff that Voyager sees? Nobody would know about that. Even if somebody could launch another probe, it would take them, 50, 60 years? Maybe 40 because of the technology to catch up to where Voyager is, so we wouldn't know the truth for another 40 years anyways. And that's 40, I didn't say 4. But yeah, so... Could all be a big mind fuck, you know what I'm saying? Alright, so I got some pictures here of the asteroid Vesta. Reveals a weird dark spot on the asteroid. So, why don't you only give me one picture? I thought I had like 5 pictures. Cheap unpicture given. Yeah, I can't read tonight, it's all good. There we go, so that's a picture of this Vesta. I'll read a little bit about it, I guess. NASA's Dawn spacecraft captured this photo of the huge asteroid Vesta on June 1st, 2011, from a distance of about 300,000 miles or 483,000 kilometers. A NASA spacecraft has captured a new video of the huge asteroid Vesta ahead of a planned rendezvous with the space rock in July, revealing an odd dark spot that has astronomers buzzing. NASA's Dawn space probe will arrive in orbit around Vesta, the second largest asteroid in the solar system, on July 16th. The spacecraft has been taking photos of Vesta with its framing cameras since May to help prepare for the close encounter. The new video is actually a series of 20 photographs taken during a 30-minute period on June 1st, when Dawn was about 300,000 miles or 483,000 kilometers from the giant space rock. The image, which captured about 10% of a full rotation, reveals several intriguing features on the 330-mile wide, 530-kilometer Vesta. Alright, cool. So, for example, the video shows a dark blotch about 60 miles or 97 kilometers wide near Vesta's equator, moving from left to right across the field of view as Vesta rotates. And just so everybody knows, I do not have a copy of this video. All I have is this picture. I thought I got a bunch of videos and pictures that I could share with you. Maybe it's on another page and I can send them over, but not on this one. So, alright. Now I lost my spot. Damn it. Alright, moving. Like strangers in a strange land, we're looking for familiar landmarks. In a statement, the shadowy spot is one of those. It appears to match a feature known as Feature B from images of Vesta taken by NASA's Hubble Space Telescope. The images also show Vesta's jagged, irregular shape, excuse me, hinting at the enormous crater known to exist at Vesta's South Pole. The resolution of the photos approaches that the best of Hubble pictures of Vesta, researchers said. Okay. Before orbiting Vesta on July 16th, Dawn will gently slow down to about 75 miles per hour, 120 kilometers per hour. NASA should release more images on a weekly basis, with photos available more frequently once the spacecraft begins collecting science. At Vesta, agency officials said. Vesta is coming more and more into focus. Framing camera lead investigator based at the Max Planck Institute. Yeah, okay. So some research in Germany. Dawn's framing camera is working exactly as anticipated. The next stop is the asteroid belt. Vesta is located in the asteroid belt, which lies between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. Dawn will orbit and study Vesta for a year, then move on to investigate the belt's largest body, the dwarf planet Ceres. The spacecraft will arrive at the behemoth in 2015. Scientists hope Dawn will help unlock Ceres' secrets of our solar system's early history by studying these two icons of the asteroid belt. Dawn's mission will be to compare and contrast the two giant bodies, which were shaped by different forces. The spacecraft science instruments will measure surface composition, topography, and texture. Dawn will also measure the tug of gravity on Vesta and Ceres. To learn more about their internal structures, by the end of its mission, Dawn will have traveled 3 billion miles or 5 billion kilometers since its launch in September 2007. So that's pretty cool, huh? Space rocks, and if you don't like space, you suck! Alright, so let's get back to another sighting. This one here is June 11 of 2011. California, we returned to station after a call on a 24-hour shift. They're ambulance workers. As I exited the ambulance to back my partner into the building, I noticed a bright red star in the eastern sky. I noted to my partner to take a look, so he exited the vehicle and noticed the same star. We talked about it for a second and thought it to be Mars, but neither of us are very adept in astronomy and we're unsure. While we were looking at the star, we noticed a second star. This star was fairly dim compared to the red star, and we noticed that it was moving towards the red star. As we watched this smaller object moved north towards the red star, then descended underneath. It passed the red star completely, traveling northward, then ascended upwards as if it was circling the red star. At this point, the smaller star just faded from view. As we watched, the red star had 3 pieces break off and drop toward the ground in 3 different directions, and the main body of the red star faded from view. This event lasted approximately 3 to 5 minutes. Let's do another one of those. Same day. Mexico. I was on vacation in Cabo, sitting and relaxing in a hot tub with my wife. I happened to look up into the sky and saw a bright object moving slowly from the west. I'm an amateur meteorologist at home, so I am used to viewing objects in the sky. It was daylight and I used some cirrus clouds that it crossed, and so I realized that the object had to be more than 30,000 feet high, as it was in back of the clouds. The light was bright and strobed like pulsing very fast, and both my wife and I watched the object for quite a while. I also used part of the building as reference as it approached from the west and then drifted off to the west-southwest. The object never rose higher than, say, 6 degrees above the horizon. I wish I had my camera. This is not the first time I have seen a UFO in Cabo. A time before, some 5 years ago in October, both my wife and I saw an object when we were having dinner one evening on the beach at a popular tavern called The Office. There I saw a soft orange object moving very slowly from the east to a point at about 75 degrees above the horizon, then turn north. Again, we both watched the object for probably 30 minutes. I called on the waiter and jokingly asked him what he thought of the object. He told both my wife and I that it was the gold returning to La Paz. Weird. My wife and I have been to Cabo some 7 or 8 times. I can tell you that I will not be without a camera again there. Have you had many reports of UFOs there? And I just want to say you're listening to the UFO Hour here on freethinkradio.com. Up next, we have Death to the New World Order with your host, Hardcore Harry. And then again at 11 o'clock, we have your show where you get to call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. You can talk to the hosts about what they talked about during their shows. You can talk about anything, whatever you want. You can add us to Skype. It's Freethink Radio. No caps locks, no spaces. One word, obviously, and add that to Skype and we can add you into the call. It's absolutely free when you join with Skype. If you want to call us, the number is 315-541-4031. And I just want to remind everybody, when you call into the show, pause your stream on the website, because if you don't, it creates a huge echo and it's kind of annoying. So just fair warning, pause your stream. If not, somebody will yell at you to turn it down or pause it. They won't yell at you, but they'll ask you to. That's how it works. We don't screen anybody. When you call in, you're added directly to the call. So as soon as the phone answers, you're live on air. So that's how we roll here at Freethink Radio. Alright, so I'm going to do another one. Which one do I want to do? Unknown object caught in Illinois. Photograph. Alright, this one has a photograph. Sweet. Oh, that's a pretty crappy photograph. This is a pretty crappy photograph, but hey. Alright, so this was Illinois 5/22/11. So I was at a friend's house. We happened to be outside that night. We all love the way the clouds form when there's about to be a thunderstorm. So we were all taking pictures. To be honest with you, nobody saw the object at the time, but later on, after we had gone inside, one of my friends was going through her pictures and she showed it to me. She said to look closely at the picture because there was an orange circle in the picture next to the light post. I zoomed in and I yelled out, "UFO, you guys look." The funny thing was that when we were all outside taking pictures, nobody saw it because we were goofing off. But the reason why I reacted like that was because the night sky was full of gray clouds and there were no airplanes or anything up there. I happened to have the app UFO Report Tracker, and I searched May 22nd, 2011 to see if anybody else saw it, and yes, people did catch it. Check out the picture. There's an orange light on the post, but it's not it. Okay, it's a very small orange circle towards the left side of it. You can readily see the photograph was taken with a cell phone camera, and the quality is poor. We did the best we could to clean up, blah blah blah. Also, it's been tampered with, which means bullshit. We did the best we could to clean up the artifacts, to enlarge it the best way we possibly could. Looks like a raindrop on the lens of a camera. It's a big arrow. No, I'm joking. Alright, cool. What else do I have up here we can talk about? Oh, I got this story here to talk about. A husband and wife in Houston, Texas claim they have been abducted by aliens several times, including an incident where a fetus was taken from the woman. According to a Local 6 news report, Clayton Lee said he was a child in a Houston park the first time he was abducted. He said he was lifted into the air at the time of the alleged abduction. I remember just floating up higher and higher, Lee said, and all that was around were stars and blackness, and then I blacked out. Donna Lee said she lost a baby during one of the encounters. She also drew a photo of the aliens who abducted her. Local 6 News showed a video of a hypnotist trying to retrieve memories from the abduction. "They're touching me, quit touching me," Clayton Lee screamed in fear during the session. Susan Clancy, who is a Harvard psychiatrist, decided to do research on people's abduction claims similar to the Lee family. Clancy ran an advertisement searching for people who wanted to be included in her book about alien abductions. When I ran the first ad looking for people who thought they had been abducted by aliens, I thought we would get a very few calls, but we were inundated with the calls for a month after we ran one ad. Wow. Clancy said she is not a believer of alien abductions. So people have symptoms like psychological distress, anxiety, sexual problems, nightmares, and for better or for worse today, being abducted by aliens is a culturally available explanation for why you might have some of these symptoms. The Lees told a reporter that they expect to be abducted again in the future. Sources and references. You can find it at www.local6.com/news 5614405 detail.html. All right. Trying to find myself, folks. Oh, I want to talk about a little bit of what I seen on the news, so I'll rant about that for a minute. So I was watching TV the other night, and on the news, yes, I said the news, I watched where they're talking about antibiotics not working on us anymore, us being humans. What a problem that would pose for the human race. How weird. Good timing, eh? It'll be like before like 1930, I think they said, where you could die from pneumonia and stupid ass shit that like a simple pill cures now, or antibiotic. The reason for this, the reason why antibiotics aren't working on us anymore, is because some stupid fucker thought it was a good idea to inject cows and chickens and whatever the fuck we eat with the same antibiotics that we use. But the difference is whether the animal is sick or not, they get antibiotics every day. They get it in their feed, they get it in water, they get it injected, whatever. They're getting it every day. So what happens is, and yes, I'm getting to this super bug, by the way. So what happens is these animals that have these little bugs that we can get and we cure with a simple pill don't get these bugs anymore because they're being given our pills to treat these things. Now, what happens is these bugs in the animals develop immunity to our pills and our antibiotics that they're being injected with every day, because they're being injected every day if they're sick or not. So eventually there's an immunity built up and the bugs turn into super bugs. Then we get sick with these super flu bugs, and there's no antibiotics to cure this, nothing strong enough, because they're immune to our antibiotics. So what the scientists said on the news, it was the news, I'm pretty sure it was global news I was watching, or CBC News or something like that. I know it's mainstream, but whatever. I'm just bringing it to your attention. Oh fuck, what was I getting at? They inject these things with our stuff. Superbug, we get sick. It won't fucking, our antibiotics won't help us. We're gonna start, the scientist guy said, in the next 10, 15 years, people are gonna start dying again from pneumonia and bronchitis and stupid little stuff that normal antibiotics would cure. So what they did on the news, like they always do, is they went out and they bought chicken from every single company, every single brand, organic, non-organic, you name it. And they ran tests to see what antibiotics it was immune to. And I really think everybody should go look it up online, because they will be fucking amazed. And this is kind of the reason why I don't believe in all your organic bullshit. It's all bullshit. They explain it right on that news clip, to tell you the truth. The organic chicken, the one that had no antibiotics, the one raised with no needles or no antibiotics at all, guess what? It was immune to 5 different types of antibiotics. 5. It was one of the highest ones. So what they did is they went to the farmer and they said, look, your chickens are immune to 5 different antibiotics. He said, that's impossible. I don't feed my chickens anything that has the antibiotics. We don't give our chickens antibiotics. We believe in straight, organic. We wouldn't do that shit. So then they start questioning him and stuff, and then something about the egg. the mother hen was injected with antibiotics. She gave birth to the eggs. The chickens that came out of those eggs had the same immunity in their DNA. Now they went off and started explaining how the same thing happens with plants. If you have a tomato plant and you use herbicides and all this shit and fertilizers and everything to boost it up and shit, and then you take the seeds from that and you grow those seeds organically, the plant is not organic. There is still traces of the fertilizer and everything else in the plant that you grew from the other plant. So they could tell you it's organic because they don't put anything on it, and yet again, which is bullshit because they do. But anyways, then again, it's not organic because if it was seeded from a plant that wasn't organic, or grown from a plant that wasn't organic, it's not organic. Same with their meat. If they dose hens with these antibiotics and then they give birth to the chickens, even if they're grown organic, they're not organic. They have traces. They 5 antibiotics. That's all I gotta say. CBC News, go check it out. Research it yourself. I'm not bullshitting you. I think personally they're doing this on purpose. I think this was the plan 20 years ago, in 1980, 30 years ago. Using antibiotics beefs up their chickens, beefs up their beef and everything else. They use estrogen and everything. We all know this. It beefs up everything, and that's why they do it. They say, plus it keeps them nice and healthy for when we eat them. Is there a way to defeat this? Well, yeah, there is. It's going to come to a point in the next 10, 15 years, maybe 20, I doubt it, but where people will have to grow their own gardens straight up. They'll have to raise their own chickens. They'll have to raise their own beef and pigs. So that's what it's going to come down to, because you're not going to be able to trust the companies that give you food anymore. I fucking barely trust them now, and half of you guys don't trust them because half of you guys go out and buy organic. So you don't trust the shit you're getting either. So you know what I mean? It's getting to a point where nobody's going to be trusting them, and you guys who are already not trusting them are really not going to fucking trust them. So, anyways, I don't know. I would like it if everybody started getting this crazy sickness. I could take a pill and be fixed up. I know I talk a lot of shit about pharmacies and pharmaceuticals and how that's a big fucking scam too, but there is certain pills that do work for us. A lot of them are fucking hocus pocus, but some of them do their job. So yeah, that's a big problem, because if we can't cure ourselves, it's a plan. It's a fucking plan, man. They fucking wanted to make it. They started doing it 20, 30 years ago. I keep saying 20, fucking 30 years ago. Injecting beef and shit. They knew this was gonna happen. They knew in fucking 25 years that the animals would the bugs in the animals would become immune to the fucking vaccines and the medicine, and that there was going to be these super bugs that we wouldn't be able to cure with fucking normal antibiotics. And if not, then it's all psyop, right? So it's one or the other, fuck. But straight up, there's shit in our food. We all know there's shit in our food. So as far as it being a fucking psyop, I don't think so. I think there's shit in our food, and everybody's starting to wake up with the shit in their fucking food. It's pretty bad. You got to put it in their mouth before they start fucking waking up. But yeah, it's terrible. And then what's going to happen is when these superbugs start breaking out, they're going to just release a couple more superbugs, and no medicine's going to fix us, and we're going to have fucking like plague-style deaths and shit, man. That's what they want. That's what they want. Alright, so we got like 13 minutes left of my show. Looking up some of this. Why is it always so hard to find goddamn current shit on the Voyager stuff? I think they should have a link where I can just fucking. I haven't found one. Everything I read's like old shit. See, there's still on the website for Voyager. They're still talking about the bow. Shit, like what the fuck? Yeah, see, they're still talking about the bow shock and the terminal shock. Oh yeah, that's good. Fuck. Alright, well, maybe I'm not gonna bother with that. That's annoying me now. Alright, okay, here it is. I gotta fucking open it. Sweet. Alright, so here's the good old golden record by Carl Sagan, whoever stuff that's flying around space right now, waiting to give away our position to aliens. So they can come here and harvest our blood, turn us into batteries. No, I don't know, I'm just joking. I wouldn't know what the hell they were going to do to us. But this has a message burned into it of sounds and a message in so many languages and so on and so forth. I guess I'll read the thing. Pioneer, okay, this was on the Pioneer spacecraft. Pioneers 10 and 11, which preceded Voyager, both carried small metal plaques identifying their time and place of origin for the behalf of any other space farriers, that might find them in a distant future with an example before them. NASA placed a more ambitious message aboard Voyager 1 and 2, a kind of time capsule intended to communicate a story to our world. So these ones are on Voyager, I'm sorry. The other ones I don't have, but there was some on Pioneers 10 and 11 as well. Indeed, to communicate a story to the world, extraterrestrials, the Voyager mission is carried by a photograph record of 12-inch gold plate copper disc containing sounds and images select to portray the diversity of life and culture on Earth. Following the section of the sounds of Earth, there is an elected 90-minute selection of music including both Eastern and Western classics and a variety of ethnic music. Once the Voyager spacecraft leaves the solar system by 1990, both will be on the orbit of Pluto. They will find themselves into empty space. It will be 40,000 years before they make a close approach to any other planetary system. As Carl Sagan has noted, the spacecraft will be encountered and the record played only if there is an advanced spacefaring civilization in interstellar space. But the launching of this bottle into the cosmic ocean says something and very hopeful life on the planet. The definitive work about the Voyager record is Murmurs of Earth. Carl Sagan, technology director Frank Drake, creative director Anna I'm not reading all these fucking names. Basically, this book is the story behind the creation of the record and includes a full list of everything on the record. Murmurs of Earth, originally published in 1978, was reissued in 1992 by Warner News Media with a CD-ROM that replicates the Voyager record. Unfortunately, this book is now out of print, but it is worth the effort to try and find a used copy or browse through the library to get a copy. Now I was getting to the whole Voyager gold record, message on the record, and this is for the people in the chat. If you could put a message in a bottle and send it into space for aliens, what would it be? If you got to pick the sounds that were on that record, what would it be? I don't know. And pictures for sure. What would they be? I think I'd have pictures of the mountains and water and snow and just all that stuff. And of course, pictures of cities. Should send them some truth pictures. Send them pictures of the military and the weapons. This is a nuke. Yeah, Donnie will send an SOS. Please get me off this planet. But seriously, like, if you got to pick the message on there, what would it be? Think about that for a while. It's a pretty hard one. Because if anybody found it out there, what would you want to say to them? Hope you don't have oil, because we'll come and take it eventually. Alright, people, you've been listening to the UFO Hour here on freethinkradio.com. Up next we have Death to the New World Order with your host, Harry Link. Then at 11 o'clock we have your show, so call in and make it your show. The number here is 315-541-4031. Ask to Skype, Freethink Radio. No caps locks, no spaces. Hit the call me button. We're going to be redoing some stuff here at Freethink Radio, so if you have any ideas and you want to share them with us, you can email us at freethinkradio@gmail.com. I'd like to hear your ideas. Or maybe everybody's just content and they want it left the way it is. Alright, so I guess that's my show for tonight. I always get off about 5 minutes early so we have time to get Harry on. Because tonight I believe we'll be not restreaming, sorry. I did not say restream. Harry will be live tonight. We're going to be streaming him through live stream to the radio, so it comes in clear when he plays video. But yes, Harry will be live at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is in 5 minutes, so no restream. And then your show, so call and make it your show. Any special guests coming up, guys? Anybody I should be plugging?
John Hutchinson.
When's he coming on?
This week, as soon as I can talk to him, man, I'm gonna book him. Friday,
Alright, so it's not definite.
Oh, it's definite. I just got to give him a date. I just haven't. Me and Trevor haven't gotten shit together. It's not him.
Alright, well, John Hutchinson will be joining us here on freethinkradio.com sometime this week or early next week or when I find out more what's going on. But he will be here for sure.
And we also got Christopher Dunn. You want to look him up? We got him booked. I just don't have a date. And we also got Hugh Newman. And if you don't know who he is, you ought to look him up. I just don't have a date for that yet either. Because, like I said, I'm no secretary.
Alright, so there you have it, folks. We have 3 guests coming on as soon as we can find dates for them. Up next, we have Death to the New World Order with your host, Hardcore Harry, sorry. And this has been the UFO Hour with your host, Blings, freethinkradio.com. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'm out of here. Beam me up, Trev. There you go, ugly.